Established in 1998, IWU's John Wesley Honors College exists to provide high-achieving, thoughtful students a world-class Christian liberal arts education as the core around which they can pursue their academic preparation for particular careers. Well, the Honors College includes students from every disciplinary major on campus. What these students have in common is that they have decided to fulfill their general education requirements through an intentional path of Christian liberal learning. The mission of the John Wesley Honors College reads as follows. The John Wesley Honors College is a body of Christ-centered community of liberal learning, established to model and enrich Indiana Wesleyan University's pursuit of excellence in scholarship, character formation, and social holiness. The JWHC thus strives to equip faculty and students to become more fully human in the image of our triune God by pursuing lives of truth, goodness, and beauty. As our mission makes clear, the JWHC aspires to be a bastion of radically Christian liberal learning. But what is Christian liberal learning? We live in an era in which liberal is most familiar to Americans as a political adjective, cast as an aspersion by some and embraced with pride by others. Nevertheless, the term has a much longer history within the development of education in Western civilizations. Since at least the time of Plato, if an education is described as liberal, this has meant that it is a path of learning that invites and equips students to become liberated. On the one hand, this is understood as a liberation from ignorance, vice, and delusion, a liberation from the malformed patterns of this age. More importantly, however, the whole point of this liberation is to become free to participate more deeply in the realities of God's truth, goodness, and beauty as the substance of one's daily life. From the very beginning, the historic Christian tradition has embraced this type of education. In Romans 12:2, we find one of the earliest Christian liberal learners, the Apostle Paul, calling us to precisely this kind of education, this liberation of heart and mind. He writes, "Do not be conformed to the patterns of this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you may discern the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." In essence, Christian liberal learning is about rethinking our understanding of reality so that we can begin to think and live according to the logic of what is genuinely real, as opposed to the products of our delusion and sin. This means, of course, that a good Christian liberal education will frequently challenge us to reassess our understanding of the world and expose the inadequacies of assumptions we've long held dear. Well, this will often be a painful and disorienting process, such as the nature of any fruitful effort to grow in discernment and wisdom and virtue. No learning community in American higher education today works harder than we do in the John Wesley Honors College to immerse all of our curricular pursuits in the liberating riches of the historic Christian tradition. Our greatest aspiration with students is not to nurture conservatives or progressives, but rather to graduate students who have been liberated to steward their lives according to the logic of a radically Christian vision of meaning and human flourishing. Graduates who are free to steward their lives according to the logic of a Christian narration of truth and goodness and beauty. It is indeed extremely rewarding to participate in this work that God is doing in the John Wesley Honors College, to grapple with life's big questions, ponder the depths of God's truth, and develop a practical understanding of Christian virtue with eager students and faculty. This is a real privilege. And we thank the Lord for how transformative our collective learning efforts have been for so many students over the years. If you likewise aspire to become a radically Christian liberal learner, then you belong in the John Wesley Honors College.